Hey, what's up everybody? It's LeeLos, and today we're talking about the legendary greatness of Conor McGregor. And guys, stay steady in the pursuit of your dreams and goals. You're born to win, you're made for greatness, and I definitely believe in you guys. Keep up the great work each and every day. Now, Conor McGregor, in his prime, there really, to this day, has never been another UFC fighter like him. Conor McGregor, he got me into UFC. I started watching UFC in 2017. I mean, I had seen fights before that, and I could tell that they were kind of cool, but it was just like, this is cool, but I'm not super into it. Conor McGregor was the guy that got me to say, this stuff is awesome. This guy is awesome. Like when Conor McGregor was in his prime from age like 24 to 29, he was the UFC to me. I didn't care about any other fighter. All I wanted to see was Conor McGregor just beat people. I liked his fight so much that I started watching other UFC fights and started to appreciate like the martial art, the technique, all of that. But Conor was the superstar to me, and he was the superstar to many people. Dana White said this in a recent interview with Logan Paul. He said that guys like Conor McGregor, if you're lucky, you get one of them every 6 to 7 years, where they're the perfect storm. If you look at Conor McGregor back in his prime, he could trash talk better than anyone else. His trash talk was always smart. He really understood the mental game of martial arts and knew how to make people submit mentally, like just by absolutely destroying them with trash talk before the fight even began. He would also predict his fights, how he was going to win, and he also had this like philosophical side to him where he would just talk about like the power of spoken word and how important it is to like be passionate about what you're doing and how important it is to just work extremely hard. Every fight he went into, he was pretty much the bully, where he was the guy who had insulted them the entire time, trash talked them the entire time. But the unique thing about him is that people still loved him anyway. If you look at other fighters that try and put on the bad guy persona, they typically get a lot of hate for it. For example, Floyd Mayweather did that, but he did not have the same adoring love that Conor McGregor had in his prime. Like he would bully people, insult people, and then still in the press conferences where he's like insulting people, trash talking people, the entire audience would be cheering. The whole audience would be laughing. He just had this captivating energy about him that, I'll be completely honest with you, no one in the UFC has been able to replicate that. And it's like when Conor McGregor came into the UFC and started winning all these fights and became a champion and was predicting all his fights and just doing all these incredible things, trash talking phenomenally, and he was just hilarious and knew how to entertain people. A lot of people were trying to copy his style. A lot of people were trying to act cocky, trying to trash talk more because they saw Conor McGregor was making way more money than everybody else because he was bringing in way more views than everybody else. And that was just a simple fact. Everyone who saw Conor McGregor in his prime knows that we want another one of those because he was just extremely exciting. But to top it all off, the man really knew how to fight very well because he would dominate people. And it wasn't just that he was dominating people, he had a very entertaining fighting style to watch. His striking was like almost like majestic, man. Like he would just do these crazy karate kicks, crazy punches, just hit people at all sorts of angles. People who are more grappling based in UFC, they tend to be appreciated by the grapplers. But if someone's grappling based and they dominate people with just grappling, a casual viewer won't understand that as much. They'll just look at it and say, okay, yeah, this guy's winning, I guess. But with Conor McGregor, everyone can understand if someone kicks you in the head and you're knocked out, then it's like, okay, this guy's clearly good. So he was really entertaining to casual viewers. He was ranked as the #1 striker in the UFC, and then he went on to fight Floyd Mayweather, who a lot of people consider to be the greatest boxer of all time. He fought Floyd Mayweather in a boxing fight. He had the confidence to do that. People who have never watched boxing before watched that. He brought in just such a humongous storm to UFC. He brought in a humongous audience to UFC. I feel like Conor McGregor entering the UFC alone probably doubled or tripled its audience size, maybe even more than that. I feel like a lot of people have forgotten that, or a lot of people who are just getting into UFC now literally never knew that. So Conor McGregor is a big reason why the UFC is as popular as it is today, 100%. And it's like if Conor McGregor never fought, I feel like UFC would still be kind of small right now. I don't even think it would be that popular. He was also a very inspirational story because he started out as a plumber and was just hating his job, was not passionate about being a plumber whatsoever. And then one day he just said, hey, you know what? I'm never doing this plumbing stuff again. I want to become a world champion in mixed martial arts, which is such a completely left field thing. It's like so different from what he was actually doing at the time. Then he left his job. He told his parents did not like it, but he kept with his dream and he actually was able to become a world champion. But his downfall happened when he fought Khabib. Conor McGregor went way too far in his trash talk with Khabib. He insulted Khabib's family. He insulted Khabib's religion. And it's like, that's just way too far. You can't do that kind of stuff. It's just simply not right. Conor had built up such a incredible reputation that even though he went too far, a lot of people were still cheering for him and rooting for him to win. And a lot of people were just turning a blind eye to how bad he was behaving. I know this because I was one of those people. I was like, Conor is the reason that I watch UFC today. This is just normal trash talk stuff. He's gonna win just like he always does. Even though I knew deep down that like him saying that stuff was messed up. I was just turning a blind eye to it. I was like, yeah, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. But when Conor lost, he didn't just lose to Khabib. He got dominated. So Conor, he was the #1 striker in the UFC. Khabib outstriked him. Like, he beat him up on his feet. He took him down numerous times, and he absolutely obliterated him in grappling. Like, there was just such a humongous difference. Like, it really felt like watching a white belt in jiu-jitsu grapple a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And I feel like it was that much of a skill gap. I believe Conor's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. It's just Khabib was a world champion sambo grappler. So it's like there's a humongous difference in skill between world champion grappler and brown belt grappler. It's a big, big, big difference. So if you just go and watch Conor McGregor versus Khabib, it really is just absolute domination of Khabib just dominating and bullying Conor the entire fight and then submitting him. So, and after all of that, all the dust settled, people started to look at it rationally and just think, hey, you know what? From what we're seeing here, Khabib is actually just like a humble, honest, genuine guy who doesn't trash talk anyone, not mean to anybody, and just fights like honorably and just like loves his family. And Conor kind of just insulted everything that matters to him. Yeah, and then you just start thinking about it. It's like, it kind of feels like Khabib was actually the good guy in this situation, genuinely. And then the whole narrative of it changed. The truth, like, hey, Conor went too far. And I feel like there had to be people who noticed this right from the start and were honest enough to admit it right from the start. I wasn't one of those people. And then what ended up happening was like all of the fame that Conor had earned, he lost nearly all of it, and pretty much all of it went straight to Khabib. So then Khabib became this massive superstar where everyone loves Khabib. And it's just like, Khabib deserves that because he's like genuinely, from what I've seen, he's the most good guy that's ever fought in the UFC, period. Just genuinely honest, down-to-earth guy, doesn't brag. That fight brought so much attention to Khabib, and then what kept the attention on Khabib is that he was an excellent fighter, and he was just this humble, honest guy that it's pretty much impossible to not love the guy. And then since then, Conor has won 1 fight, I think, and then he's on like a 3-fight lose streak right now. A lot of people seem to have forgotten that back in the day, back in his prime, Conor brought so much success, so much recognition, and so much of a bigger audience to UFC, and a lot of where UFC is today is because of what Conor McGregor has done. What do you guys think about Conor McGregor? I still think he was an amazing fighter. He might make a comeback. If he makes a comeback and wins like a big fight or wins another title, then that'll be one of the biggest comebacks in all of UFC. But I really just wish the best for him, you know? But I wanted to make this video just talking about how absolutely legendary he was back in his prime. And like I was saying earlier, to this day, we do not have any superstars that were the same as prime Conor McGregor. We still, to this day, we don't have anyone who has masterful trash talking, is a masterful entertainer, and is a masterful fighter. We don't have anyone like that in UFC yet, period. So hopefully that comes up soon. Let me know what you think about Conor McGregor. Let me know what you thought about this video. Let me know what you want me to talk about next. Let me know all that good stuff in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, and you have a great rest of your day.